And hello, Eli. And this is my face, and that's me. And I'm happy to see
Hello,
you.
Alex. All the way
Hey,
to the other side of the world. It's so good to meet.
absolutely. Absolutely. I hope there won't be the problem with the streaming, but sometimes, I don't know, we're still in the basement of our theater, which means the
Uh-huh.
connection can be low. But yeah, looking good. All right. This is for the audience. Guys, hello, everyone watching us, watching the recording of the stream or the live stream. My name is Alex Borovensky. I run for English Theater of Ukraine. And right now, we talking to Eli Hans, the tell me, is it the author, producer, director, actor of Out of the Blue? Or how do I, yes, what's your
Yes,
part in the
I
show?
well, I created the show. I wrote it. I did the music and the lyrics. And I did have a wonderful director, Meredith Grundy from New York. And I had a choreographer, Christy Olvera. But yeah, I kind of pretty much created the show. And then my husband, Joseph Bennett, is in part of the show as an actor. It's mostly a one-person show in which I played 20 characters. And then Joseph shows up as himself in the third act. And it's a musical.
Oh
So,
my, wow. What put you, okay, how did you come up with this idea? The musical and so many characters, and you decided to produce it. So it involves many people to do it with you, which means
yeah,
it's a long time
definitely.
plan. Why? Why did you want to do it?
Well, let me say, first of all, I forgot to mention that I wrote the music, but I had a wonderful music arranger called Conrad Pluta from Canada. And I would send him my little demos on the piano, and he created this beautiful orchestrations. I wanted it to sound like a Broadway show. So he made it sound like a 9-piece orchestra. He was just great. So why did I do it? Because it felt like this was the thing I had to do. I can't explain it any other way. It felt like a calling. It felt like it kind of came down from the universe somehow. It was during COVID times. We all had all this time. We were stuck at home. And, I had a very amazing, miraculous experience. 8 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, a pretty scary situation where I had about 10% chance of survival. And I made it through. And there were a lot of miracles involved in my healing journey. And I knew one day I was going to write a show about it. So I started writing about the story, and then it kind of became a musical. I hadn't planned on it being a musical. And all this beautiful music was coming through, and these beautiful songs. And
Hmm.
and I wrote the show, and honestly, I didn't know how audiences would respond to a show like this. I realized that a big part of my healing from cancer was to make peace with my past, growing up as a gay boy in a very conservative community, Mexican Jewish community in
All
Mexico
right.
City. And so it had all those challenges. And so it's kind of a journey through my life, coming to terms with different aspects of my life. And it's very funny. It's very entertaining. And it's also very poignant. There's some very challenging moments in the show that are very emotional. So it's really an emotional roller coaster ride for the audience. And I wasn't sure how the audience would respond to the story, but it turns out that even though it's my personal story, the themes are very universal. And most people can relate to feeling like they don't belong, or maybe they feel like they're on the outside um, of a situation.
Yeah, yeah. I can relate
Everybody
to that.
wants love. Yeah, definitely. You know what it's like to be in a very tough challenge. And then what's inspiring about your story, which I think is very universal, is everybody wants to see people break through their challenges and be able to come out victorious on the other side. It's like the little guy, like David and Goliath. I mean, you guys are like, the little David, and you made it through. That's why it's so inspiring. And I love the theme of Unbreakable.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
It's inspiring the world through your example. And I'm sure that all of the shows that are involved in this festival have that theme of resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how we selected the shows. And that's totally different resilience. And for example, we have a story of a drag scene in London and the actor who tries to break his way into acting career and the attitude, that those days. We have a story of a girl who escaped from North Korea, and that's a real story. She did escape
Wow.
from North Korea, and the performance is called Sell Me, I Am from North Korea. And it's a part of the festival. And we have your story. And yeah, all of them is about how strong a human being actually is. If a human being
Yes.
allows yourself, himself, herself to be strong, that's pretty much what Ukraine is
Well,
now and what you guys are now with your performances. So yeah, thank you for that.
well, and that's what, especially after coming out of a period of COVID, where I think the whole world, we all individually were looking at our mortality and how life is such a quick journey on this planet, right? And how when you value your life, you're willing to do anything it takes to stay alive. And you guys are an incredible example for the world. And
Yeah.
I love that you decided to have this festival anyway, even through all the challenges you've been through, and to have theater represent these individual stories in a beautiful, creative, artistic way to inspire people.
Thank you. But
Because
you know what?
that's
Today I brought our idea of the festival only today. The festival is going on from the 13th of August, and it's already in the middle. And today I brought it to the Department of Culture of Kiev, and they're like, "Ooh, you're really doing this? Good job!" And you're like, So, hence my question: did you receive the support? I mean, financial, logistic, administrative, political support for your show when you do it? Did you have to do it for your own expense? Any
well,
supporters?
that's a beautiful question. I think that every dream needs a team. You can't do things all on your own. So I assembled a very good team, and I wanted to make sure that everybody in the team got paid for
Yeah,
their talent, for their work. So yeah, the show was going to be very expensive, and I was willing to use my savings for it. But I decided, I'm going to do a crowdfunding campaign and see if the people in our lives want to support this dream. And honestly, I wasn't sure. I didn't know if we were going to be able to raise the money or not. So we actually hired a wonderful coach, her name is Melissa Center, who helped us build our campaign. It took 90 days to prep the campaign, and then it was a 30-day campaign. And we raised all the money we were going for in the first week.
wow, wow. That's
And then
inspiring.
the rest of the weeks, the other 3 weeks, we raised enough money to take us to the Hollywood Fringe Festival in LA from Mexico. Because that was expensive with airplane and renting a car and renting the theater and producing a whole show somewhere else. So that part was incredibly moving, to know that all these people that we knew and many that we didn't know would donate money for our dream. And that's what I mean, that it takes a village, as you know, to be
Yeah,
able to make something come through. It was so beautiful. And then the audiences have loved the show. We sold out all our shows, and we always get standing ovations. And we like to have a talk back after each show, because we feel that the people need to kind of process a little bit of the emotions in the show. And people are always crying or feeling inspired and sharing that, yeah, they've been very deeply moved by the story. So it's great. And I'm so happy that I found about you guys and that we were able to participate in your festival.
wow. Yeah, I'm happy you found us. Was it, by the way, was it the Eventotron? Did you see us at Eventotron? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are wonderful guys. We found out about them just recently from a Prague Fringe Festival, guys. They told us, ooh, there is this big site that puts all the festivals together. You should be there. And we did, and we contacted them, and they allow us to be there for free, because right now Ukraine has no money. All the money go for military equipment. Yeah. So
Yeah.
We're there for free. We're very grateful for Eventatron, and this is how I guess 70% of the participants came from. And yes,
Oh, that's great.
it's
And
really, really
how are you guys doing in your city? I mean, is there still fighting going on in your city, or did Russia
no. We're in
leave?
Kiev, and it was the attack on Kiev was in the beginning of March. The whole March, basically, Kiev was surrounded, sieged, and heavily shelled, I'd say.
Yeah.
But then, in the end of March, Ukrainian army moved Russians out of Kiev region completely, and now all the fights are happening in the south of the country and the east of the country. That's the huge front line because the Russians they occupied pretty much the east of the country, but we in the north. But the thing about Ukraine that it's nowhere safe now because they send missiles every day. Yesterday there were
Mm,
3 air alarms in Kiev, so technically we could
mm.
have been hit. We wasn't, but it's like you never feel safe. And tonight I heard air alarm at 4 a.m. in the morning, but I was so tired with the festival, so I was just like, there's another missile, So
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh.
strange because you're getting used to this idea,
Yeah.
something that you said earlier about when you look into the face of death with COVID. Now, this is imminent death. This is death that can come to you at any second. And some of my friends got killed. Some of my friends who joined military got killed. One of my friend's American teacher, not a military guy, in Chernigiv, he was standing in a line for bread and he got shelled and he got killed, just a
Oh
guy,
my God.
So these things like, I think it changed every one of us, especially the
Oh
artists,
yeah.
because the art, it will never be the same, what we used to create, what we used to write about. I do a musical now, so I'm very curious to know more peculiarities about how you did. But I stage a musical right now, first one, but that's a musical about guns. That's a musical about a lady who buys a gun and then she says to her husband, "Oh, you never talked to me. And now you have to talk to me because I have a gun." So,
Oh wow.
it is funny in a way, but it's very poignant, as you say, because it raises this thing. So, my question to you, why musical in the first place? I understand this is the first musical in your career. So, why did you want to do it through songs, through singing? Why
Well,
just a story?
let me say, I've been in theater most of my life, and I always wanted to be on Broadway, and I wanted to, I love musical theater. And when I turned 60 a year and a half ago, I asked myself, do I have any regrets?
Okay.
And my only regret was that I never truly gave myself a shot at being at Broadway. I tried a little bit, and then I thought, "Oh, I can't do this," and I kind of gave up. So I thought, you know what? I'm not want to live without regret. I'm going to write a musical that I love, and when I perform it, it'll be Broadway on my mind. It'll
Yeah.
be I'm doing my own Broadway show. But also because music has a very powerful effect of transcending, emotions. It can really, all the songs you express the internal aspect of the character in my show, and the audience, you could just feel the audience with the songs just being brought into the story so deeply. And also there's a lot of fun stuff, and there's dance involved. So the show ends with a really great dance number, so the audience is like clapping and we're dancing, and so it's a very powerful way of enhancing a story and the emotional aspect of the story.
Well, yeah. And, well, you did it with all that career in theater and you performed it in person, and now there is a recording. Why did you want to keep it in a digital format? Why not just keep going and perform it for people? And yeah, why is the recording in the end?
Well, because if I didn't do the recording, I couldn't be in your festival.
True.
Right?
Okay.
Well, here's the thing: is I wanted to have a really great recording because it's expensive to travel with your set and cost props everywhere. It's exhausting also, and so having a really great video, and I put a lot of energy into this video, and it's a really well done video, gives me the possibility of showing it anywhere at any time. So one of the we have is we want to go to cancer centers and show our show to cancer patients and then have deeper conversations about their own cancer healing journey. We also want to go to universities and talk to young people about self-love and self-acceptance and all that. So if we can perform it, great. But if there's not enough budget to perform it, we can show the video and still have the deeper conversations. So, you know, plus the video will be forever, you know, I can watch it whenever, I can have it for the rest of our life and keep showing it over and over and over. So I would recommend to anyone that some energy and some money in really creating a good video of their production.
Yeah, true. Because, well, sometimes I rehearse a show for half a year and then there is 10 performances and it's done. And you feel like deeply, oh my God, where is half of my life, half a year of my life gone? So yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, when we went to the Hollywood Fringe Festival, which is a wonderful festival, very well organized, and there's like hundreds of shows and dozens of venues and everything. You know, I couldn't really have my set the way I wanted. I had to have a very simple little set. And the show is good, and it, you know, the story still came through, but I really missed my set. You know, I really wish I could have done it. But when you have a show that tells a story that moves audiences, you know, people have told me you could do this and show in a bathroom and it would still be successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I still wanted my set. You know, I felt like something was missing because I didn't have my lights and my set and all that stuff.
No, I totally understand you.
So
like in a day, on Saturday there will be the opening of Kiev section of PRO.ACT Fest, and I'm presenting there 2 shows, and one is still in the process. Like I have rehearsal right after our talk, and it's a story of 2 gay Ukrainians at the blog post. And their territorial defense, they're protecting Kiev from Russian invaders. So it's a very modern story written by one of our modern playwrights, but they are gay and they are dancing. So it's like, you know, and it's some topic that's very new for me. I never spoke about this. I never but these days I felt like no taboos, because in Ukraine, believe it or not, sometimes it's still a taboo, which is very strange to me. But I felt like with the war, there is time to get rid of any taboos. And that's not why I wanted to tell you the story. The story is that I need to build a blog post. And blog post in Ukraine is built of the bags filled with sand, huge bags. And we still don't have it, but I feel like there are no bags, there is no story. Technically, I could, you know, put something theatrical, but I need real bags. So I'm going to go to the real blog post, because in Kiev there are some, and steal it. I say it to you because I think the guys, Ukrainian blog post guys, don't speak English that well. So I think I can do it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you know, all these stories that are like taboo, they need to be told because it's part of our humanity and it's real, and that's the way where people start being less judgmental. You know, our show is a love story. It really is a love story, and it ends with a beautiful love story. And we've had audience members that say, "I'm not gay." But the love story was so moving. I could really feel it, you know. Or I've had people in the audience get up and say, our son is gay, and this gives us such a deeper understanding of his life, and we can't wait to share the show with him, and, you know, things like that. So yeah, you're able to be part of opening people's minds to the reality of being human. You know, we all want to be loved. We all want to love someone.
Yeah.
And
but so there's the other question. So it is a story that's based on your life, right? And there are 24 characters, which means there are friends and relatives and enemies and so on. Was there a case when somebody of the people you portray, they come and see your show and they recognize themselves in a show? Or how was it in general?
Great question. That's a really good question. Yes, there are people in my life that are portrayed in the show. I changed everybody's name for their own privacy. But, you know, I have my mother, I have my father. I'll tell you the one that was, I also have a couple of very interesting characters. One is the personification of shame, and one is fear. those are the two characters that most of the audience really related to, believe it or not. There's the most comments I get is about those two characters. But one of the characters was my young teenage self gets a crush on this boy early on in my life. And I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought, I'm broken. Like, why do I have this? It's not, the other boys I know aren't this way. Why do I have this? So the whole first act is about this relationship that I had with this straight boy that I fell in love with. Well, we're still friends. And he was coming to the show with his girlfriend.
Okay.
And I was more nervous that he was going to be there than mother being in the show and watching me portray my mother. I was like, oh, I can't do this. It's like, I was so scared. Turns out he couldn't show because he had other things, but he came to one of the streaming performances that I did with video, and I could watch him during the show and his girlfriend during the show. And you know what?
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was great. And afterwards he said, you know, I'm so sorry because I had no idea that that was going on in your life. And I'm so sorry if anything I did or didn't do hurt you. And I love you. And, you know, so it was just a very healing experience. But that was definitely a concern. I was very nervous, like about my mother, portraying my mother and how she would respond, because it wasn't all very positive. Some of it was challenging.
Well, of course. Yeah, I can understand. And how did she respond?
Well,
Does she become the supporter who watches your show over and over, or she watched it once and, you know, how?
my mom is incredible, and she was very supportive. She's watched the show maybe 4 or 5 times, and she's spoken like in some of the talkbacks, and she says, you know, I love you, you're my son, and I'm so sorry you had those challenges, and you know, I'm so glad to be your mother, and you know, all those things. But in the show, the audience says that I'm so lucky to have the supportive, loving parents that I did, because also my father, who plays a big in the show, he was very loving and very kind and very supportive, which is rare. You know, a lot of gay men, gay boys don't have a supportive father. So that was a very beautiful thing for people to see, that you can have a father that can be loving.
Yeah.
Situation. So yeah, it's kind of fun to play all these different characters.
Yeah, well, I can imagine. And especially since like in a monoplay. Yeah. You were saying?
You know, I was going to say, as an actor, so not just because I'm playing my story, but I try to approach a show as an actor approaching a show, because otherwise I couldn't get through all the emotional aspects of it. So I'm an actor playing all these different characters. And from a standpoint of an actor playing 25 characters and singing and dancing, it's a very challenging show to perform. Every character needs to have a very clear physicality and voice, so the audience is never confused about who's speaking. And so that was a huge challenge for me as an actor, a very enjoyable challenge.
Yeah.
And when I perform it, it's just like delicious. You know, great to perform the show because, you know, because all the work that went into creating it. So hopefully the audience will enjoy watching all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think on this we will finish the talk, because I guess we said and heard enough. And guys, watching us and listening to us, the festival is going on from 13th till 31st, and there are premiere dates, but all the performances are already available at Scene Saver. So if you wanted a reason to watch Out of the Blue, the Miraculous musical, here's the reason. Watch our talk. And if you didn't fall in love with Eli yet, you should now, because I do. After talking to you, man, I love you. Thank you very much for it.
Oh, I love you, Alex. Thank you so much. I'm very proud of all of what you're doing, even with the challenges that you have going on, and wondering if a missile's going to hit you. I can't even imagine what that reality would be. So I love your commitment to the art of theater, and that you're giving an opportunity to so many artists to show their work, showcase their work. So thank you, thank you, thank you for this and conversation. I
And
wish
I
you
do
all
hope
the
one day
best.
we'll meet in person because,
Oh, that
yes,
that would be awesome. Yes,
yes,
that would be great. And
absolutely.
I pray more than anything for peace in your country and peace in the world as
Yes.
soon as possible, sooner than later.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Send you a big hug, okay?
Yes, yes. Okay.
Okay.
Bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.